tear gas might be banned. An officer who got fired from one police department may have a much harder time getting rehired by another agency. Those are just some of the ideas lawmakers talked about virtually today that they think could become state law soon.
Police mistakes and wrongdoing can be extremely costly for the society.
Professors from around the country, considered experts in the field, laid out for Washington state lawmakers several potential suggestions for how to reform the police.
The way in which it feels to be a Black person living in one of these vulnerable communities, and the government has not bothered to measure what the state does in terms of meting out violence, that influences the entire way that the community feels going forward.
State Representative Roger Goodman heads up the House Public Safety Committee. He says the protests and riots this spring and summer proved to him there is a call for change, so he established a team to explore legislative fixes. You can expect bills to call for more accountability. Officers would be required to report a fellow officer's misconduct, and more officers who get fired would be decertified and unable to work as police in Washington state again. There will be a move to increase transparency, perhaps more body cameras, or making it easier to access police public records. Tools like tear gas and the so-called no-knock warrants might be banned, along with chokeholds, which could instead end up being limited.
It's election season. This sounds good. Will this happen? Because some of these issues have been talked about before. Can we see some of the changes actually become law?
I am confident that we are going to pass legislation to increase accountability for police, to improve the profession, and to improve the relationship between police and the community.
Whenever lawmakers return to Olympia next, either later this year for a special session or for their regularly scheduled session in January, balancing the budget will be the top priority. But lawmakers say after what they've seen this year, they can't ignore the issue of police reform. In Olympia, Drew Mickelson, King 5 News.